I have a neighbor who lives alone in a big house. She is clearly wealthy, but we don't know each other very well. We have talked a few times, but nothing personal. I had never really seen family or visitors come over. A few weeks ago, she left with luggage and told me she was going to Europe for a few months. Before leaving, she casually said something like, "Keep an eye on the house." I didn't take it as a serious responsibility, but I remembered it. For the first few weeks, nothing happened. The only person who came by was a gardener I already knew. Then I noticed a different car outside her house. I heard movement inside, and later I saw a young man, probably college-aged, coming in and out carrying boxes and bags. My neighbor is white and the guy was black, which I mentioned because it became relevant later. I didn't assume anything just because of that. I was mainly suspicious because I didn't recognize him and nobody had told me someone would be staying there. I went over to introduce myself and ask who he was. He was polite at first, but he avoided answering most of my questions. He just said the house was his family's, which seemed strange because I knew my neighbor lived alone and had never mentioned anyone staying there. I tried calling and messaging my neighbor, but she didn't respond. That night, more young people started arriving. It became obvious there was a party happening. There was loud music, and other neighbors started messaging me because they were also confused about what was going on. I went back and spoke to him. He said it was his birthday party and that they would lower the volume. However, when I asked again about why he was in the house, he got angry and said he didn't owe me any explanation. At that point, I became worried. I didn't know if someone had gotten access to my neighbor's house without permission, so I called the police. They came, stopped the noise, and told me they couldn't do anything unless the owner complained, since he apparently had keys. The next day, my neighbor finally responded. She told me the guy was her nephew and was extremely angry that I had called the police. She accused me of being racist for assuming he didn't belong there. I understand why she was upset, and I can see how the situation might look bad from her perspective. But from my point of view, I saw someone I didn't know entering an empty house, avoiding questions, and throwing a party while the owner was overseas. I didn't know he was her nephew.